readers. The first thing I'd like for you to do before you do anything else is turn to page 16 in your book, and I want you to practice your performance read. So go ahead and turn to page 16, pause the video, and practice 2 times reading page 16. I'm also going to snap a picture of it for you so it'll be in the very next picture. Make sure that for today's literacy you are coming prepared and you have your text, you have your journal and your pencil, and if you have story stones that you've made at home, go ahead and grab those too. And then I am so excited to read chapter 8 together, My Father Meets a Gorilla. You guys are gonna like this chapter, so get ready and meet me right back here and we'll be ready to read. Before we begin reading, let's make sure to clear up some vocabulary words that might have you a bit confused. On page 57, you're going to read a word called paraded, and it describes how a lioness is walking. If you are parading or paraded in front of someone, you are walking in front of them in a way that is attention-seeking. That means if you are parading, you're saying, look at me, look at me. The next word is dignified, and you're also going to find that word on page 57. If you are behaving in a dignified way, you are acting very serious, or in a way that says to others, you better respect me. Next, you're going to read about some animals that are working frantically. If you are working on something frantically, you are you're in a very big hurry. You really want to get it done. You're desperate to finish the task. Oh my goodness, let's get this done before we run out of time. We are working frantically. And finally, you're going to read the word miraculous. Miraculous is similar to the word miracle. If something is miraculous, it is an extraordinary event, an extraordinary event, something that doesn't happen every day. Okay, let's look at My Father's Dragon. You'll remember we always like to look at the table of contents to find our page number. We are on chapter 8, My Father Meets a Gorilla, and that can be found on page 56. Okay, so as I'm reading, I'm going to be paying attention to who my characters are, what the setting is, and what the problem is. So I'm paying extra special attention to those 3 things. Chapter 8, My Father Meets a Gorilla. My father was very hungry, so he sat down under a baby banyan tree on the side of the trail and ate 4 tangerines. He wanted to eat 8 or 10, but he only had 13 left, and it might be a long time before he could get more. He packed away all the pills and was about to get up when he heard familiar voices of the boars. So we know we have the boars in this chapter. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen them with my own eyes. But wait and see for yourself. All the tigers are sitting around chewing gum to beat the band. Old Rhinoceros is so busy brushing his tusk that he doesn't even look around to see who's going by. And they're all so busy they won't even talk to me. Horse feathers, said the other boar, now very close to my father. They'll talk to me. I'm going to get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do. Those boars really want to know what this invader is doing, don't they? The voices passed my father and went around a curve, and he hurried on because he knew how much more upset the boars would be when they saw the lion's mane tied up in hair ribbons. Before long, my father came to a crossroads and he stopped to read the signs. Straight ahead, an arrow pointed to the beginning of the river. To the left, the ocean rocks, and to the right, to the Dragon Ferry. My father was reading all these signs when he heard paw steps and ducked behind the signpost. A beautiful lioness paraded past and turned down toward the clearing. So I'm noticing that he's kind of standing at a crossroads, or a place where he's trying to make up his mind where he's going, by a signpost. A beautiful lioness paraded past and turned down toward the clearings. Although she could have seen my father, if she had bothered to glance at the post, she was much too occupied looking dignified to see anything but the tip of her own nose. It was the lion's mother, of course. And that, thought my father, must mean that the dragon was on this side of the river. He hurried on, but it was farther away than he had judged. He finally came to the riverbank in the late afternoon and looked all around, but there was no dragon anywhere in sight. He must have gone back to the other side. My father sat down under a palm tree and was trying to have a good idea when something big and black and hairy jumped out of the tree and landed with a loud crash at his feet. "Well," said a huge voice. Okay, so let's look at the picture on this page. Here is the lioness, and here is the signpost. It's like a road sign. This way to the ocean rocks. Here's the beginning of the river. This way to the clearings, and this way to the Dragon Ferry. And here is the big, black, hairy something that jumped down out of the tree he was sitting under. This might lead to our problem. "Well, what?" said my father, for which he was very sorry when he looked up and discovered he was talking to an enormous and very fierce gorilla. "Well, explain yourself," said the gorilla. "I'll give you till 10 to tell me your name, business, your age, and what's in your pack." And he began counting to 10 as fast as he could. My father didn't even have time to say "Elmer Elevator Explorer" before the gorilla interrupted. "Too slow. I'll twist your arms the way I twist that dragon's wings, and then we'll see if you can't hurry up a bit." He grabbed my father's arms, one in each fist, and was just about to twist them when he suddenly let go and began scratching his chest with both hands. "Blast those fleas," he raged. "They won't give you a moment's peace, and the worst of it is that you can't even get a good look at them. Rosie, Rhoda, Rachel, Ruthie, Ruby, Roberta, come here and get rid of this flea on my chest. It's driving me crazy." 6 little monkeys tumbled out of the palm tree, dashed to the gorilla, and began combing the hair on his chest. Look at that. "Well," said the gorilla, "it's still there." We're looking," said the 6 little monkeys, "but they're awfully hard to see, you know." So look at these 6 monkeys trying to pick the fleas off a gorilla. That would be a hard job, wouldn't it? So I think we have our setting, our characters, and our problem. We've run into a gorilla. "I know," said the gorilla. But hurry, I've got work to do. And he winked at my father. Wonder why the gorilla winked at his father. Was his father the work he had to do? Oh, gorilla, said my father, in my knapsack I have 6 magnifying glasses. They'd be just the thing for hunting fleas. My father unpacked them and gave one to Rosie, one to Rhoda, one to Rachel, one to Ruthie, one to Ruby, and one to Roberta. Why, they're miraculous, said the 6 monkeys. It's easier to see the fleas now, only there are hundreds of them. And they went on hunting frantically. I bet I know what's going to happen. A moment later, many more monkeys appeared out of a nearby clump of mangroves and began crowding around to get a look at the fleas through the magnifying glasses. They completely surrounded the gorilla, and he could not see my father, nor did he remember to twist his arms. Once again, Elmer gets away. Now, since this is our 8th chapter of the book, it is time that you practice your story stones independently today. So what I'd like for you to do is set up your journal. I want you to complete your story stones just like we've been doing every day. You're going to do the characters, the setting, and the problem. Then you're going to tell me what happened at the beginning, the middle, and give me some details. And then at the end, what happened? Well, it's kind of repeating what keeps happening in every chapter. Did Elmer get away again? Yes, he did. And then, did our problem get solved? And then at our 10:30 Zoom, we're going to go into breakout groups and we're going to talk about if our story stones match one another's. Okay? See you at 10:30, friends.